Okay, so E3, well, at least the big part of E3, like the conferences, they have come and gone. The dust has pretty much settled, and I have to say, not bad, not bad. A lot of people were saying like, oh, E3 was underwhelming. E3 was some people were saying E3 was bad. I mean, one thing, I did this new thing. It's a new thing out, right? New thing people are doing. It's called tempering your expectations. All right. One, this is the last generation. This is the last E3 of this console generation. So more than likely, most companies have moved on to the PS5 and the Xbox, whatever. You know, so most of them, they're not gonna be. If they did come out and show all these games, one, they're gonna be at least a year to 3 years off, and two, they're not even gonna be for consoles that we own yet. So it's not really important. They could have came out there and was like, oh look, we got like Fable 4 and like Assassin's Creed, blah blah blah, and we got like all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? But we're not gonna get those games for 2-3 years, you know, and they're gonna be on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet. So I'm like, what's the point of them actually showing all that stuff? But alas, it is what it is. That's the way of the internet nowadays. But I say E3 was alright. I'm going to go through all the conferences. I'm going to have timestamps here as well as down below, so you can go to the conference that you want to talk about. I did skip the EA Play event because there are only really two things there. Was they did a big demo of Star Wars, which was actually pretty nice. And they announced that Symmetra was coming to Apex. If you get that, then you, sir, are awesome. But let go.
We need to run! No, we need to fight.
So Microsoft had Halo Infinite, so announced that was going to be on Scarlet. I think they're going to do like a Breath of the Wild, Twilight Princess type of deal where it comes out on Xbox One and Scarlet, and it comes out holiday of next year. And they had a really nice trailer for it. Like, the trailer was nice. Like, I'm not even a huge Halo fan, even though I do love the story of Halo. I'm not that big of a fan. It hit me in that one little Halo spot left in my body, and I'm like, okay, that's gonna be good. When you see Chief, and it's like he's like, no, we can't. No, the dude's like, oh, we have to run. He's like, no, we have to fight. I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm getting finish the fight vibes off of that. That was pretty sick. So then they announced that they acquired Double Fine, which was interesting. They acquired Double Fine, and then they did drop the trailer for Psychonauts 2. Then Cyberpunk. So Cyberpunk is the big thing that everybody was talking about. The Keanu-sance, the renaissance of Keanu Reeves' career. So he is in Cyberpunk. The trailer for Cyberpunk, I am gonna break down. I'm gonna go through it for you, for the 8 people here who subscribe for Cyberpunk content. I love you guys, but you guys are about as small as my anime community. But I got you though. The trailer was nice, and it does show you just how deep and how gritty Night City is. Like characters that you thought were kind of copacetic, kind of cool, turn out to be not so cool. They kill my nigga Jackie in the trailer. Man. So then they announced the Blair Witch game, which was, there are a lot of these kind of announcements at E3, which is like out of nowhere, like Blair Witch. I mean, I'm guessing what they're doing is they're trying to capitalize off of like, I think it was the Friday the 13th game, where you had to play as people running from like Jason or whoever. I think they're trying to capitalize off of that, because that was big with like streamers and stuff. So I think they're trying to capitalize off of that. Ninja Theory announces a 4v4 fighter named Bleeding Edge. So to me, this was kind of a disappointment, because I'm like, y'all come off of like storied awesomeness that was, Hellblade, to what seems like it could be an Overwatch clone. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Overwatch. I love the gameplay style of Overwatch, like, you know, team-based shooters that with kind of like a strategic, what do you call it, like objective-based gameplay. Like, that's great. I'm all for that, you know. But like, I was expecting something else from Ninja Theory. I guess I got caught up in, I guess like my hype kind of got me on that one. So they announced that they had a trailer for Gears 5, which was kind of weird. They didn't really go nearly as much into Gears as I thought they would, seeing as though that game actually comes out this year. Halo actually had a longer trailer, and that doesn't come out until next year. The Dragon Ball Z project. So this one was something that was rumored months ago, that there was an action RPG coming for Dragon Ball Z. And we have a name for that. It's called Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. So it's the story of Goku. It looks like it may end at the Frieza saga, with like him becoming a Super Saiyan. Like, this may follow the course of the original course of Dragon Ball. Because if you don't know, originally Dragon Ball was supposed to end at the Frieza saga. So it's supposed to go all the way through the Frieza saga. He becomes a Super Saiyan. He beats Frieza, and then I guess to kind of leave it ambiguous if he gets off of Namek alive or not. But that, of course, it didn't happen, and the rest is history. Tales of Arise was announced. Namco was in full effect at this show. They announced like 3 games. Because like the DBZ game is Namco. Tales of Arise, which is the new Tales game. You know, like Tales of Symphonia, Tales of Hysteria, you know, those type of games. That's the new one. Game looks nice. I like that they're using Unreal Engine 4 now. Even though I do like the anime aesthetic, I do like the realisticness of Unreal 4. But the big thing that they dropped was a collaboration between them, From Software, and G.R.R. Martin, George R.R. Martin. So, dogs. Hold a second. So yeah. So they announced a collaboration between George R. Martin and From Software and Namco called Elden Ring. And so there's an interview about that. I'm going to get into that. I'm actually going to give it its own video because that sounds freaking sick. And then, of course, they had Phantasy Star Online 2 officially coming to the West. Sega was in full effect at this show, too. E3, Sega was in there. Like, so overall, I think Microsoft did pretty good.
Don't fear the unknown. Attack it.
Bethesda. I love you, Bethesda. I do. Like, Skyrim is one of my favorite games of all time. I still play Skyrim to this day at work. But yeah, man. Like, they came in with a couple of announcements. They announced Orion, their own streaming service. They announced the new Shinji Mikami game of GhostWire Tokyo. So it's kind of like a story-based like action game that has like, what can I say, like horror elements to it. To me, it sounds sick. It sounds like Yakuza meets like horror, which to me just sounds awesome. And then a game I completely missed somehow. I don't know if like I went to the bathroom during this, but Deathloop. So essentially, it's pretty self-explanatory. You know, you play a character that they die and they come back, and you have to keep doing this until you figure out what it is you're supposed to do to get out of the loop. And that's really it. I mean, they had some other stuff there. Like, they had a trailer for another trailer for Moons of Elsewhere, which is the expansion of Elder Scrolls Online. Which, here's something, like, ZeniMax, just listen to me. If you ever see this video, please stop releasing expansions to ESO before E3. Because really, it really shoots Bethesda in the foot when they have to do this conference. Because it would be way better if you release it a week or two later. That way, at the conference, you can talk about the expansion without sounding redundant. Because it'd be perfect. Like, just imagine this. If Moons of Elsewhere didn't come out until next week, you could come to the conference. They could be like, oh, we're going to talk about how to have more details on Moons of Elsewhere. A little bit on the story. They released the trailer. And then they do like a small gameplay demo of Necromancer gameplay. Boom. Instantly better than what you did here because you moved the release date back so it's not releasing right before E3. Genius. Ubisoft. So Ubisoft, they did what they do all year, every time. They made a pretty good conference. They had fun. They did have a TV show like thing. Like last year, they had Frodo announce a movie game thing. This year, they announced that there's a Division. There's like a TV show. There was some kind of TV show they announced, and then they announced that there was going to be a Division movie. So I mean that's fine. But the big thing is they had Rainbow Six Quarantine, which is a new Rainbow Six game. It's probably like more survival horror, team-based tactical, fight the zombies type of game. Assassin's Creed story creator, so you can create your own stories in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That's nice. They left off with a game called God and Monsters that had completely no explanation at all. Hopefully they explain that sometime during the week. There was no Beyond Good and Evil 2, which kind of saddens me, but I mean, the game looks like it's going to be amazing, so I will wait patiently, senpai. But the big thing was Watch Dogs Legion, otherwise known as the worst kept secret in gaming. Watch Dogs Legion sounds awesome. So, I've never been a real big fan of the Watch Dogs games, mainly because I just wasn't. Like, I mean, even though the first one sounded cool, and it had like this kind of noir revenge story, you had dude in a trench coat like hacking stuff and beating the crap out of people with batons and trying to get revenge for his family. I mean, yeah, but I never really got into the game. And then, of course, there was Watch Dogs 2, which was more colorful and upbeat. Like, yeah, man, we're hackers and it's fun, man. It's the West Coast, bro. You know, never really was into that. Don't own small dogs. Small dogs are annoying. But yeah, beyond that, this looks good though. So this one takes place, I forgot where, London. It takes place in London. And so of course there's all this supervision, like drones and shit, and like it looks crazy. And so of course there's a resistance movement against all this supervision and all this other kind of stuff. Apparently the government has lost control of the city somehow. So we have almost a night city situation in London. So that's interesting. And the resistance, the main character can be anybody. Like in the presentation, they showed the main character was one guy, and like he was supposed to go and recruit another guy, and he tried to, but dude did something stupid and was getting ready to get arrested by the cops. Dude tried to save him, but then he gets gunned down trying to get away. Like, so then an old lady has to step in to get information about how to get the guy back. Then another chick has to go and get the guy. Like, it's complicated, but it seems like it's gonna be awesome though. I can't wait to play that. So, these are the people, like, as of yesterday, SquareEnix was the winner of E3. Alright, as of, like, yesterday. Before today. Because they came in, like, guns blazing. Like, so they came in, they did a big thing on Final Fantasy VII Remake. They talked about the battle system. They talked about how it's kind of like an action base, which is interesting. It's understandable. I would prefer a turn-based battle system like the old days, but I guess to fit with more of a newer crowd of people, you might want to do an action-based. So it's fine. they did that. They announced that they're gonna do a remake of Final Fantasy VIII, which is way less intensive, but still, at least Final Fantasy VIII didn't just get left. You know, Dragon Quest. They did a big thing on Dragon Quest. They announced a brand new game called Outriders, which I don't know much about, and for whatever reason, I didn't put much down on my notes, so I guess I was probably eating or something at that point. And then they did a big thing on Avengers. And Avengers is exactly what I thought it would be. It's going to be like an online, well, it's going to be kind of like a co-op type of thing. It's going to be co-op or not. They say they're going to have like AI people so you can go solo if you wanted to. But it's going to be kind of based around online. Kind of games as a service, but it still looks sick though. And they took their own interpretation of the Avengers. So it's not straight off the movies, and it's not straight out of the comics or the TV shows. So that works too. On to the winners of E3.
Yet we have the strength to scale the walls between us, to reach out our hands in friendship so we can open our true hearts to one another. That's how we win!
Nintendo came in and did in like 45 minutes what the other conferences didn't do in an hour and a half. They came in and they destroyed everything. So they came in, they had No More Heroes 3 is coming. They announced they have a Dark Crystal prequel game, and it's a strategy RPG. I was flipping out over this, over a lot of other stuff, because I love strategy RPGs, like Final Fantasy Tactics, Fire Emblem, like, you know what I'm saying? I was peed off that we didn't get any Gears Tactics at the Microsoft show, but we got Dark Crystal Tactics now, baby. So I'm all over that, you know. It's going to be based around the Dark Crystal prequel series that is going to Netflix sometime this year. So that should be pretty nice. They announced, they basically detailed Animal Crossing. So it's called Animal Crossing New Horizons. And essentially it's like Sims Castaway, except instead of you getting lost on an island, you actually go to the island willingly. And it's like a Tom Nook vacation package. And of course you have to pay for this. So when you get to the island, you find out you owe like Tom Nook like $50,000. And it's like, really? A $50,000 vacation? But yeah, that looks good. That looks good. Panzer Dragoon is coming to Switch. So I was like, I could have swore that, if I'm not mistaken, the last Panzer Dragoon game was on the original Xbox. I could have swore they owned that property. I could have swore they got it at the same time they got like, that was another one that they started to reboot it, but then they canceled it. I could have swore that they owned that, but I'm guessing they don't. So, but yeah, so that was a thing. Also, they have, so they announced the Banjo Kazooie and Fire Emblem Heroes for Smash. Now, I'm not 100% sure on the Fire Emblem Heroes. It sounds like this might be a Pokemon trainer situation where you can swap out like between the different heroes, and the main hero is the guy from the upcoming Dragon Quest game, because they just showed them all just fighting. So, I mean, are we getting one person that you can swap between, or are we getting like 4 different people? Either way, I'm happy. That's great. And then of course they announced Banjo Kazooie for all the people who are crying for Banjo Kazooie. I would have personally rather had like Sora, but I mean, this alright too. And then of course, the Fire Emblem trailer, which, look, here's the thing, right? I was thinking like, okay, we about to walk into E3 like bosses, right? Fire Emblem about to walk up into E3 like straight up bosses. This trailer was gonna be amazing. I saw the trailer. I was like, it's the best trailer I've seen at E3 almost. Like, there's a time skip. There's a war between the main characters. What? Okay. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, it's just as subtle as anything. You know, Breath of the Wild is just like, hey, what's up, guys? Remember me? Zelda, Breath of the Wild. I launched the system. I got a sequel, guys. Bye. And stole the whole jet, bruh. They stole the whole show. Like, they stole all of E3 with 1 minute and 23-second video. And I'm like, ugh, there's so many things. Like, I'm back in the Zelda video game, people. Alright? Theories is coming. You know, because all I need is a little bit. I told you every time, all I need is a little bit. Give me a little bit. And I can run with a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what Nintendo did. So, that's going to be nice. Of course, I'm going to break down these trailers. Tell me your opinions on what was going down. I know this is a long video, but I had to do it. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, folks, keep it real.